as Charlie Kirk, though no evidence links the suspect to a larger plot. The Baltimore County Council has approved a new redistricting map expanding from 7 to 9 districts. The plan creates 2 majority black districts and 1 majority minority district, with black residents making up 55% of voters in Districts 2 and 3 and 45% in District 4. And a Missouri judge is allowing the NAACP's redistricting lawsuit to move forward while also accepting the state's motion to dismiss. The dispute centers on the Missouri First map, which splits Kansas City into 3 districts. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
We've made it to the middle of the week, folks, and you're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton, and I'm here with Chief Eddie Compass. You've made it to Wednesday, Chief.
Oh, yes, and I'm here to hear you.
All right. You hear that? So how do you do that? You call the WBOK 1230 AM talk line, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. So if you missed it, here it is again, 504-582-9422. How is your hump day starting? You made it through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and today is Wednesday. So we've got another chance, another opportunity. The Lord planted my feet on the ground this morning. Well, first on the floor.
Right.
On the steps, and then out on the sidewalk and the ground, and got in the car and had to turn back and get some other clothes. I forgot a piece of my day. My day doesn't end until later tonight.
Right.
I forgot about the segments. It's like, oh my goodness. So, had to turn back, get myself tuned up for another part of the day that I had forgotten about. So, but that happens. And
well,
today
is a big day for me because it's my beautiful wife, Regina's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
And my beautiful daughter, Lorette's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And then tomorrow is my wife's best friend, Charlie, the one who introduced us, her birthday.
Oh.
And my daughter, Tiffany's birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, so I have a lot of women that I love. Now, my daughter, Lorette, is a little upset with me right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we play fantasy football.
Oh.
And I went against her last week, and she had an 88% chance to beat me.
Oh.
And she lost by 1 point, and she was very upset about that. And then my son, Marlon, he was very, very happy because now he's in first place, tied with his dad. But Lorette, Daddy is sorry he beat you, but he still loves you very much.
No, you're not.
I'm not sorry because she called me up gloating.
I know you're in it to win it.
I'm in it to win it. She called me up
gloating. But you're also in that relationship to love your baby. So
and she called me gloating when it was an 88% chance of victory. She said, "Daddy, I'm taking you down, Daddy. I'm taking you down." I said, "Baby, don't count your chickens before they're hatched."
Oh boy. Well, good morning, folks. And don't forget, October 11th, yesterday was National Voter Registration Day. I hope you got registered, and I hope you got some other people registered. Hope you checked your registration. because the window is narrowing. There's no more opportunity for in-person registration, but you can do it online. So go to Go Vote or any number of other websites, and you can get yourself registered and see that others get registered by September 20th. So that's just a few days left to get registered online for the election that is scheduled for October 11th. Not much time left, folks. Less than a month. Wow. Less than a month for you to get yourself ready and to plan to vote. Early voting starts on September 27th and it ends on October 4th. Don't wait. It's been shown election after election that there are more votes that matter in the cast in the early voting period. And so make yours count in the early voting period. If you can't do that or you prefer to go on election day, then you go ahead and do that. But I'll tell you now, the candidates will be counting those votes day by day by day by day from September 27th through the 4th to see who comes out to vote, where the voting is strong, where their vote is coming out, where their vote is not coming out, getting their vote to come out, because at this point, it's going to be a matter of getting out your vote and convincing the undecideds to swing your way. That is the name of the game at this point. You've got some solid support. The candidates know they can count on certain people to vote, and they're going to, count on those people to cast their votes. But don't let it slip up on you. Make sure you are registered to vote, and make sure you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, plan now when you can cast your ballot. And for those of you who are eligible, you can do it by mail. So that's an option for those who are eligible. So again, the deadline for registering to vote is September 20th, and early voting starts September 27th, ends on the 4th of October, and election day is October 11th. And I tell you, it's a little warm up in here in this studio, but I tell you what, it's warming up with the campaign.
Oh
my goodness, it's warming up with the campaign. I went to both debates yesterday.
Okay.
So I was there live and in person at the morning debate at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com in the morning, and then I was at the WWL Louisiana studios for the evening debate. The morning debate featured State Senator Royce Duplessis, City Council member Oliver Thomas, City Council Vice President Helena Moreno, and businessman Frank Janusa. So he wasn't scheduled to be in the debate because of a recent poll. He polled at 7%.
Wow.
So he went up above a 5% threshold. So he was added to the program. So there were 4 instead of 3 at that particular program. And then the evening program, they had different criteria for WWL Louisiana. And I believe the threshold was 10%. I'm not sure about that. But so it was the 3 most prominent candidates, Duplessis, Thomas, and Moreno at that one. But in each of them, they covered, some infrastructure issues, some affordable housing and housing issues, city services issues. Safety and permits is coming up over and over and over and over again, and then over and over and over again. And why? Because everybody thinks it's a mess. Oh boy, I don't know that I want to be working in safety and permits right now because y'all getting beat up.
Well, when you look at safety and permits, it affects us as a community, no matter what your socioeconomic level, no matter what your educational level, because when you have to go to that office and it's not working at its optimal efficiency, the functionality is very frustrating sometimes. I call it the proverbial bureaucratic quagmire. They send you to say you need this permit. You get that permit. Well, you need this permit to do what you want to do because that permit doesn't cover it. Why didn't you tell me that from the beginning? So then you got to go all the way back. And then parking around City Hall is not the easiest thing in the world. So when you got to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then once you get all the paperwork, then it's the process of somebody coming out and doing inspections, it seems to be from the perception of the community that the process is not what I would call efficient. It's capricious, arbitrary, and gregarious at best because there's no tangible gauge to measure success. There's not enough people feeling that they're being served. They're looking at resources and it's not being utilized to its optimal efficiency. So in actuality, it's probably the most dysfunctional part of city government from the eyes of many of the constituency. So that's why that's a top priority for all candidates. And I think they'll have to come up with a strategy, no matter who wins, to fix this, because this is something that is glaring. Even as great a problem as crime is perceived in some communities, crime is on the way down. There's structures in place through the programs put in place by Chief Kirkpatrick that's not really a main concern anymore as it was in past elections. But what you're talking about, safety and permits and infrastructure, and actually another thing, the actual development of a middle class, especially in minorities in this community, is big because we really have a disparity of the distribution of wealth in this community, and it's glaring. And so they have to come up with a component to basically get these young entrepreneurs, these young people who want to participate in the process and come up with an actual entrance into entrepreneurship, into becoming a contractor, into becoming a vendor for the city. So whoever's going to be in that position is going to have to develop that upper middle class and middle class population in order to build up the tax base and build up a sound, I would say, constituency throughout the city.
Well, and that's going to be tough with a $110 million deficit looming. And the candidates have these visions for what they're going to create and what they're going to develop and how they're going to make city government more effective. But that, no matter who's elected, that's going to be a challenge with less money. Less money is what they're going to be left with. And it's a matter of how much money they will have to work with. So that came up at debates yesterday, both in the morning and in the afternoon, in different ways. And it's something that, candidates know that voters want to hear, what are you going to do that's different? I don't care who is campaigning for what. There's always that word change. Always, even if you're an incumbent. It's like, we've done well and we're going to change and do better.
Right.
But the candidates have different perspectives about what that looks like. And some of the dreams and big visions and goals sound good. And some of them, maybe it's not your approach to that particular situation or problem, but they have an idea. So part of that idea is going to come down to how much money you have to work with. And with a deficit, that means some things are going to have to be pared and cut or sliced and diced. And so some things won't happen or be reduced. And then other things will come up, sprout up new. But there were quite a bit of things talked about at the two debates, the one in the morning and the one in the evening. Got a little spicy there, and we're going to be talking about that. But before we go to break, I want to make sure that y'all know about some of the other things that are happening in the news today. The plans for troops, 1,000 National Guard troops in New Orleans, has been moving forward. Journalists have gotten a hand on some leaked Pentagon documents that show that the Trump administration does have plans for those troops to assist law enforcement officers in New Orleans and some other urban areas in the country as well. So it's starting to expand this thing that has happened in L.A. and Washington, D.C., and now in Memphis. And Governor Jeff Landry has expressed support for this. But right here on the Good Morning Show, you heard from Chief Ann Kirkpatrick say nobody's talked to her about National Guard plans. So I'm not quite sure how you're going to assist if you're not talking to the chief law enforcement officer in the city. National Guard coming to New Orleans, but the chief doesn't know.
Well, you know, she made some very salient points when she was on the show yesterday. She's not going to turn down the help if it comes, but she wants to utilize the help where it would best serve the city. You know, when you look at law enforcement, it's a very unique skill set that you have to have. And National Guard members are not trained to be city police officers. They're trained to be soldiers. Now, there's a role for them within a police department because I've used them when I was the chief of police in a preventative aspect where you put them in an area to deter crime from basically having patrols, having visibility. But you cannot send them on a call for service that would be, say, 103, which is a disturbance. If a family is having a disturbance and the National Guard arrive with that gear on, with automatic weapons, it's going to send the wrong signal to that family. That, you know, it's like an overkill type of thing. So you have to have individuals who are there that have expertise in verbal judo, that has expertise in intervention. This is taught at the police academy. I don't think that's taught in the military how to deal with family disturbances. Maybe I'm wrong, but the skill set that a soldier has and the skill set that a law enforcement professional has is totally different. So if she gets the autonomy to utilize those resources in a way that will benefit the police department, I think she's all for it. If they mandate that she use those officers that's coming from the National Guard in a capacity to handle regular calls for services, I don't think it's going to work to the level where they think it can in the deterrence of crime. When you look at our department, people don't realize most policemen on a daily basis are involved in service, basically handling reports, handling accidents, handling family disturbances, helping with truancy. You know, the things that are enforcement that you see on TV where it's like hot calls, like armed robberies in progress, handling murders, those are not an everyday occurrence for an average police officer. You have officers who have a specific expertise and skill set to handle those things through specialized units. So when you talk about that, bringing the National Guard in, it's going to have to be to the discretion of the chief to use that.
Yeah, and we'll be moving toward the break in a moment. We will be hearing during this show representatives from the New Orleans Health Department, and we also will be hearing from Emily Fanosas, who will be calling in after the break. She's going to be talking on behalf of Credible, talking about Louisiana's rank for the longest student loan repayment timeline.
Whoa.
Why do we have to be on lists like this?
Man, you know,
our state just has to be on all these lists, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's like where are our good lists? I'm sure glad some of the great food connoisseurs put us up high in some places,
and music and
yeah,
music,
right? Yeah.
Let me get a little ding for that. Yeah, good list.
Oh boy. But before we go to break, let me let you know so that you are aware. You already are aware, but let me just bring it to your attention. It's mid-September, and New Orleans has had no measurable rainfall this month. Not measurable. Might have been a sprinkle here or there. You might have been talking from downtown to uptown. Somebody on the line, they see a little sprinkle, but no measurable rainfall. So we're getting closer to a drought stage, and this is not where we want to be. Usually at this time of month, we would have 3 inches of rain. But good news, we think there's going to be some rain this weekend. So I'm just giving you a heads up. If you got weekend plans, go ahead and be careful and be safe. But pray for rain, because we need rain to keep this ecosystem going. Right after the break, we'll be hearing from Emily. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. The National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals, or NCBMP, is a nonprofit focused on making life easier for black business travelers. Jason Dunn is executive director of the NCBMP, and in a conversation on Bloomberg, he talked about how the work his group is doing extends beyond just business conferences.
It's not just conventions and meetings, but also sports. In fact, one of our members have the largest kickball tournament in the country.
Whether it's a big corporate meeting or a kickball tournament, Dunn says the bottom line for NCBMP is that the host site is welcoming to diverse travelers. And in the coming year, his sights are set beyond the U.S.
We know that Asia and Africa specifically are destinations for our members who want to create that international flair.
As more black professionals enter leadership ranks, making sure business travel is safe becomes more and more important. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Pro Savings Days are back at Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members save even more with limited-time doorbuster deals. Save $5 on 24-count Contractor's Choice 42-gallon trash bags, now just $14.78. Plus, get your choice DeWalt Elite Series saw blades for $9.98. Not a Pro Rewards member? Join for free today at Lowe's. Valid through 9/17. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowes.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hi, I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, and your hosts today are myself, Will Sutton, and Chief Eddie Compass, my man sitting right to my right. So for those of you on Facebook Live, we hope you can see both of us. First wave, Eddie.
What up?
Hey.
What up? In the house, in the house.
All right, so it's Hump Day, and we've got a good show today. We are going to be in conversation with Emily Fanousos. And Emily, I want to say good morning, but first apologize if I've got that name wrong. Not a name that I am familiar with, so please make sure that we get it right. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Hello?
Good morning, Emily. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Fabulous. How do you pronounce your last name?
You got it right the second time. It's Fanous.
Oh, I did get it. Oh,
yeah, you got it.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I'm glad I got it right one of those times. It's like being at bat. You can have a strike, but if you connect another one, then all right. Okay, you got something going. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Good Morning Show. And you are a representative of Credible, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, thank you so much for having me this morning.
Well, thank you so much. And for our listeners who are being introduced to you for the first time, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what is Credible.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having me. My name is Emily. I'm a representative on behalf of Credible.com, which is an online personal finance marketplace that really is just a tool for consumers. So whether it's personal loans, student loans, insurance, just anything to do with personal finance, this is a resource that people can use to find information on budgeting or information on the different types of student loans or how to go about getting a car loan or a home loan. So it's really a place that's kind of all about personal finance online. And we just want to help to try to be a tool to help people take their finances into their own hands and make informed decisions.
Okay. How long has Credible been around?
That is a great question. I don't have that number on the top of my head.
Okay, but you know how long you've been associated with Credible.
Yes, I've been associated with Credible for a few months now. What my job here is to really conduct research. So what I do is we take, ideas that maybe there's data out there where we can survey Americans or we analyze government data to really put a story to the numbers and really make some of these bigger data sets or information that we may hear about really make sense for people at home, make sense for me, make sense for you, and make sense for anybody that wants to learn more. And that's what we recently did. We analyzed some data from the Student Federal Aid Office to break down what student loan debts are really looking like in every single state for Americans across the country.
Wonderful, wonderful. Chief Eddie has a question for you.
Well, there's many different methodologies you could use. Do you use an SPSS program, which is a statistical package for social sciences, when you're doing this research?
We use the Federal Aid Office's Federal Loan Repayment Simulator. And for this ranking that we're specifically talking about with Louisiana and the payment timelines, we were looking at the income contingent repayment plan.
Okay, so you're basically looking at, is it goes across socioeconomic scales, or you're targeting a specific group of individuals between certain ages or certain races? How is the data inputted and how is it analyzed?
Yeah, wonderful question. So what we looked at was the state's median average household income. So the median household income in Louisiana, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, is $58,229. So we took that, and then we also looked at the average student loan balance in the state of Louisiana per borrower, which is around $33,800. We got that number by looking at the student aid office's data on the total balance of student loans of the state, which is $21.5 billion. We then compared that to their data on how many borrowers, student loan borrowers, there are in Louisiana, which is around 634,000. So using the average balance with the borrowers in the state, we were able to find the average balance per borrower, and then using the median income household, that's how we got to our number. So of course, this is not the case for every single person in the state, but this is just the best way that we could snapshot it by looking at the average balance per borrower and the median household income.
Well, that's pretty robust. That's very good. I'm pretty sure y'all P score is playing 0.05 or less, which is the national mean for validity. I'm pretty sure you people did that. So good job. Excellent job.
Thank you.
All right. Can you walk us through your recent report on student loan repayment timelines and how Louisiana compares when you're looking at other states?
Absolutely. So, So taking that average balance per borrower, again, we use the federal aid office's repayment calculator using an income contingent repayment plan. So this is, again, looking at the average balance per borrower in the state and then the median household income. And that calculator on the student aid office spits out a bunch of numbers, which is really helpful for anybody who's looking for more information about potential student loans or what their current situation is. So looking at that, again, under this income contingent repayment plan, which, is based off of the person's income. So whether that's based off of the 12 payments per year or based on your income, or it's based on 20% of your discretionary income, what we found is that Louisiana, out of all 50 states, ranks third for the longest repayment timeline. So under this student loan plan and taking the median household income in the state into consideration, the student loan repayment timeline is June 2038. So that means that people, this average of the state will be paying their student loans until June of 2038. Again, Louisiana ranks third. Coming in first is Mississippi, which is May of 2039. So that's almost a full year. That is a full year past Louisiana. Coming in second is West Virginia at December of 2038. So we're talking, these student loans, again, we did this study this year. So this is talking from now until the future. So June of 2038, which for anybody, of course, getting an education is a goal for some folks, but really knowing the reality of how long you might be paying that back, it's stark, and it's good information to have.
So, generally speaking, how much are people taking out in loans as a part of getting their education, and why is it that it's an extended time length? Most folks I know don't graduate from college and get a $100,000 job, so they can't just say, I'm going to pay this off in 3 years. So it becomes an extended time for paying it off, or they actually get a job, have the job for several years, lose that job, they're unemployed and looking for another job. So there's a disruption to their income. So what are some of the factors that go into people borrowing how much money and how long they take to repay it?
Exactly. So you're right. Not everybody who comes out of college is immediately getting a high, very comfortable salary. We know that that's just not reality. So with this, again, the average balance per borrower in the state of Louisiana is around $33,885. So that's their average balance. But then, like we're talking about here, based on income, based on disruptions to income, under this income contingent repayment plan, of course, if this is extended out past a typical 10-year repayment plan or anything along those lines, that's where interest starts to come into play. So these income-based plans are good that, you're not having a daunting payment while you don't necessarily have the salary to pay that. But then looking at this, so under this figure that we did with the average balance per borrower, the median household income, under this specific plan, folks in Louisiana would be paying a monthly payment of $314. So that, isn't the highest number. Of course, that's a big chunk of your paycheck. But because this is based on income, like you said, that payment timeline is going to extend. That's why we're talking about June of 2038 here. And then looking at this from our data from the loan calculator, what we also found is, so again, that average balance in the state is around $33,000. But folks under this income payment repayment plan, at the very end, when we're talking June of 2038, the total that they would be paying would be around $50,000. So yes, if you extend based on income or based on these repayment plans, unfortunately, there is interest that's going into this. So when it's all said and done, years from now, you are going to be paying a hefty amount, which it's just unfortunate because, not everybody immediately when they're out of college, like you said, can pay a good chunk of those student loans back. So as they extend, many states, and that was another part of our study as well, was looking at under certain plans where borrowers will end up paying the most, looking at interest and all those other factors as well.
Okay. So Chief Ennis has a question.
Okay, when you look at the interest rate, is it one standard interest rate, or does the interest rate fluctuate? Because one of the big problems is when you don't pay it on time, sometimes there's punitive measures for not paying on time. So is those punitive measures implemented in these type of loans, or is this something that's just specific that they're paying principal or principal and interest?
That's a very good question. I believe it is dependent on each type of plan. And right at this moment, I don't have that answer for you because we do know that the plans are changing based off of the One Big Beautiful Bill coming. So currently on the Federal Aid Office's website, they do have some guidance on what's going on with the plans and what changes will be coming. When it comes to something like the ICR plan, they're saying that this is actually going to be eliminated in the future, and that's the plan that I've been talking about here. They say that they'll publish more data on it with the enrollment deadlines, et cetera, but when it comes to interest, again, like you said, that does fluctuate. And right now, without going through the loan simulation, I don't want to give you an answer that I'm not positive about.
Okay, but when you look at it from the perspective, I know there are programs in place, like I remember the Teach for America program. If individuals would teach in systems that basically had a lack of teachers or needed teachers, that their loans would be forgiven if they did like 2 or 3 years. Do you still have that program in place for these loans?
Teach for America, I believe, is still a program in place, but just being the personal finance marketplace, I don't have all the details on that, but I believe, Teach for America, I've obviously heard of it and know that it's a good plan or a good possibility there. So there are options out there in our country for folks and ways to help pay those personal finance or those personal student loans back. And that's why we really encourage folks to take it into their own hands, do the research, look around, because there are options. And, again, looking at these numbers can be very daunting, but it's important to know that there are options and there are ways to refinance or other, like you mentioned, programs that may be able to help.
Well, our whole system of, I guess, being able to accumulate wealth is predicated upon your credit score and your ability to borrow money. Will this impact in a negative way individuals' ability to get money to start in businesses? Because basically it's kind of a catch-22. If you have bad credit, you can't get the money to pay back the loan. So then it causes a vicious cycle where individuals can't really get out of debt. So do you take these things in consideration when individuals are basically looking for possibilities and helping getting loans and attaining type of loans for businesses so they can actually start paying these loans back for the student loans? Yeah,
I think it's very important that folks, think of all those things. And like you mentioned and brought up, it's a really good point that, unfortunately, student loans, it's going to be a part of folks' finances for years to come. So like you said, if they want to start a business or if they want to, open X, Y, and Z, it's important to know how student loans may affect your credit score. Again, that might be different for everybody based on the type of plan that they're in. But you're right. It's something to remember that student loans aren't necessarily like siloed in their own category when it comes to your personal and financial outlook. It is something that is going to be part of that conversation for years to come, and a way that you need to think about your finances, because unfortunately the student loans can affect all of it. And it even comes with budgeting and knowing what, based on your income, based on your debts, knowing what type of place you should be living in, or what you can rent or what you can buy. So it all comes back to the total understanding your personal financial outlook.
Thank you.
Okay. So when you are looking at Mississippi and West Virginia being at or near the top of the list for longest repayment timelines, and then you're looking at what's happening in Louisiana, what do you see as the patterns for why this is happening? And do you see any, as you look at other states, what is the secret sauce, so to speak, for them having shorter repayment timelines?
Great question. So under the ICR plan, the real, thread that we see throughout our data analysis is going back to that median household income. So Mississippi, West Virginia, Louisiana, among the states with the lower median household income. And then when we're talking about the states who are a little bit higher on this list, that's more New Jersey, Massachusetts, Maryland, those median household incomes are higher. So that is kind of the thread here, at least under this income contingent repayment plan that is, putting the states in this order. So it's hard to say. Of course, that's not something that can change overnight, but that is the common denominator, the common thread that we see throughout.
Okay. And when you are looking at your research, obviously it's good for business for them to have someone like you who's able to spend time to dig into the data. But part of this, I would believe, is designed to help your clients, to help your customers with decisions on how they're able to get their education, or for those who are have gotten some education, how they can have a repayment schedule and be on time with that on a regular basis without interruption. So how do people connect with you all to say, that sounds good, I think I want to talk to someone credible?
Absolutely. So, yeah, our hope is that this data can really just help people understand and get a better view of what they're maybe facing or folks around them. So like you said, credible.com, that's where folks can go. There you can get information about student loan refinancing, student loan consolidation, like I mentioned before, even just budgeting tools. So again, credible.com is a personal finance marketplace where folks can get resources, help, and also, like you said, get connected with some experts.
And how do people reach out to credible.com?
Head to the website. There's plenty of links there where you can find different data points, but then you can also, of course, contact us. You can start a chat on the website or also email as well, and there's also a phone number too.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Emily. We appreciate that good information for those who have outstanding loans that need to be repaid. Credible.com might be a resource that you want to consider connecting with, and a lot of good resources on their website, according to Miss Emily. So check it out. Thanks again, Miss Emily, and have a great day.
Thank you, Miss Emily.
So much. Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye. This is the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton, and with me is Chief Eddie Compass. We'd like to hear from you. Did you watch the morning debate hosted by the Times-Picayune, Nolan.com? Did you watch the evening debate hosted by WWL Louisiana? What are your thoughts? What did you see and hear? The phone number is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Hot and mostly dry conditions continue. A chance for stray showers and storms on the North Shore, but about a 10 to 30% chance. So most of us will end up staying dry again with highs in the low 90s. Feeling like the mid to upper 90s at times. Overnight lows fall to the 60s and 70s, more 90s and low rain chances for the rest of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
New Orleans is stuck, spinning our wheels while J.P. Morrell gets us nowhere. I'm Pastor Gregory Manning, and I'm running for New Orleans City Council at large. I'll fight for our community. Affordable housing, lower bills, and no more Entergy late fees or cutoffs when people need power most. Because when our community moves forward, New Orleans moves forward. On October the 11th, it's time to move forward. Vote Pastor Gregory Manning for City Council at Large, Division 2, ballot number 32. Paid for by Friends of Gregory Manning.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Just tuning in on this Hump Day Wednesday. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422. There were a couple of debates yesterday, one in the morning, one in the evening, and there was an opportunity for candidates to ask another candidate a question. So we're going to hear a clip from one of those questions in a moment. Do we have it queued up?
Councilmember Moreno.
This is our time.
You know, I'm from New Orleans, true and true, and I spend a lot of time from one end of this community to the other. The people in this community, they have asked me to ask you a question. They see the paid actors on social media. They see the massive campaign. They see the massive amounts of money that you've raised. But what they've also seen is that you morph or change into different people depending on who you're talking to, which group, this group or that group. So what they wanted me to ask you is that, can they trust that you won't change on us?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say this. What's been so great about our campaign is, one, that everywhere I go, it is the same message time and time again, and that is about elevating our entire city and getting basic services right for our city. Because it doesn't matter whether you're in Lakeview, whether you're in the Cutoff, whether you're in New Orleans East, whether you're in Holly Grove, everyone wants the city to function and the city to work. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. If you're trying to do some kind of renovation to your house, or whether you're starting a business, you're going to safety and permits. And if safety and permits doesn't work, it impacts you. So bottom line, my message is always clear in every neighborhood, which is why I have built such a broad and diverse coalition from all across the city in all different neighborhoods to support my campaign, because ultimately that is what the people of New Orleans want. A better city, and they know because of my track record, I will stop at nothing to get the job done for them.
All righty. Well, that was one of the better moments in the event at WWL Louisiana last night. But there was more. The whole thing is online. You can find that online with WWL Louisiana. And as we move on and get closer and closer to the early voting on September 27th, and then the election day on October 11th, there will be, I'm sure, some stepping up of candidates' questions and contrast to see what the differences are. So before 8 o'clock, we're going to try to get another couple of clips in, and then we're going to want to hear from you all. Chief Eddie, what did you think about that exchange?
Well, as the campaign goes on, the exchanges get a little bit more aggressive, a little more pugnacious and bellicose, for lack of a better word, because you really in a fight. You're fighting to be the mayor of the city. And it's part of our system. It's part of our democracy. And I think the voters want to know, how candidates react when they're under fire, when controversial things are brought to the forefront. How do they respond? Because there are very valid questions that were asked throughout the debate, and sometimes some of those questions are uncomfortable, but the people want to know. That's one great thing about our system of government and our process of elections. For the most part, we want transparency. And when you put a debate on TV live and the candidates are allowed to ask pointed questions that may be a little uncomfortable for some of the recipients of that question, that's what it's like to be the mayor. Yeah. So that's real fire. Like everybody say, when you're at practice, you're getting ready for the game. Well, guess what? Game time.
All right. So next up, we're going to hear State Senator Royce Duplessis ask a question of Elena Moreno, and this is a spicy one. So stay tuned.
I'd like to ask a question to Councilmember Moreno as well. Councilmember Moreno, a few weeks ago, I received an email. I received an email from one of your top donors and supporters, a very powerful businessman in this city. That person used to be a supporter of mine until he realized that I could not be controlled. He sent me an email, but he sent me an email by accident. And I knew it was by accident because he asked me afterwards if I would delete the email. Let me tell you what was in that email. I think you know what was in it. In that email, he falsely claimed that someone from my team referred to you and people on your team as white devils. Now, I was offended by that because not only is it not true, because nobody on my team thinks like that, and we don't use that kind of language, white devils, it was used in an email to try to gin up white rage and divide our city by using racially charged terms that were false, that were not true, as a way to make money and raise money for you. Why have you not denounced that?
So first, let me start. That email, of course, was not to me. It was to you.
That's what I said.
It was from someone who was a very long time supporter of yours. And I agree, that term should absolutely be denounced, no doubt about it. But it is now in the court's hands as to whether or not someone on your campaign called me by that absolutely, horrible type of term that I would hope that you would admonish if it is realized, and if there are witnesses, and if there are affidavits that end up coming forward that someone in your campaign did call me by that terrible term. And ultimately, I'll just say this, there's been a lot of distractions coming from your campaign and a lot of untruths. You've called me everything from incompetent and corrupt without any type of fact. And so this, again, is yet another type of distraction where you'd rather come and attack me than actually talk about the issue.
No, ma'am. So you're saying it's not true. You have no evidence to suggest that there's any truth to anybody on my team referring to you in that way. Mr. Hammack asked that the email be deleted. He even acknowledged that he sent the email. So you have no evidence to suggest that anybody on my team said that. None.
Black people in New
None.
Orleans don't even talk like
Okay,
that.
Hang on. The question is to me.
Oh,
The question
okay.
is to me.
Yes. We'll give you a few seconds to respond, and then we'll move on
Once
to your
again,
question.
this is now in the hands of the court.
So
and
you're
it'll
blaming
be-
it on the courts?
No, this is now in the hands of the court, and there will, see what happens, whether or not there are affidavits or any witnesses who come forward as to whether or not someone in your campaign said this. And I hope that if it is found out that that did happen, that you absolutely admonish the person who did this, and then that you
Who was the
correct
person who did
record.
it?
That you
Who was the person who did it?
You should check the court record.
Okay, let's move on now.
Well, that wasn't expecting that last night, but this is something that has been reported in the Times-Picayune, but let's say it didn't make the headlines, but it is part of the Royce Duplessis campaign to point out the use of the term white devil, with the allegations coming from a longtime Royce Duplessis supporter, Mr. Hammack, in an email that he had Royce's email because he's been a supporter for so long. So he included Royce on the email and hit send.
Wow.
So Royce and his campaign had the opportunity of seeing what this was. So the Duplessis campaign's point is that as racist as this seems to them, that Helena Moreno should be denouncing it. And they're also making a case in court that this is a collusion that is not allowed between a mayoral candidate's campaign and a PAC, which the email sender belongs to. So we're going to have to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get to more of this. But stay tuned. We're going to have some more. Each candidate had an opportunity to ask a question. Right now it's 8 o'clock. If you got somewhere to be for 8:15, you got to get up and get going. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump has ordered the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee to fight crime, a move drawing pushback from local Democrats. Black State Rep Justin Pearson is urging residents to oppose the deployment.
Militarized occupation of our city is not a resolution to the problems that we have.
Tennessee's Republican Governor Bill Lee supports the plan. Black Fulton County, Georgia DA Fonnie Willis has been permanently removed from Trump's Georgia election case over her relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. The Georgia Supreme Court refused to hear her appeal,
now
but
it is
Willis
time
says
for
she'll
you.
turn over the case file and evidence to state prosecutors. And President Trump is threatening to retake control of D.C.'s police if Black Mayor Muriel Bowser blocks cooperation with ICE. He called his earlier 30-day takeover a success, while Bowser insists immigration enforcement is not MPD's role. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Integy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM. Did you watch the morning debate with the mayoral candidates? That was 4 candidates at the morning one because Mr. Januso was added to that event. And then in the evening, it was State Senator Royce Duplessis, City Council Vice President Helena Moreno, and City Council member for District E, Oliver Thomas. So the three of them on the evening debate on WWL Louisiana and then WWL Plus. So you can find it there. Both were recorded. You can find them online at the WWL Louisiana debate. You just heard a couple of clips with Oliver Thomas asking Helena Moreno a question and Royce Duplessis asking Helena Moreno a question. And Helena Moreno had an opportunity to ask one of her competitors a question as well. And she chose Senator Duplessis.
Last time I did you, Councilmember Thomas. This time I'll go ahead and ask Senator Duplessis a question. Senator Duplessis, you have criticized the City Council when we have fought on behalf of the people of New Orleans. When we thought that the mayor really didn't have the people's best interest. And one of those situations happens to be the recent issue with, of course, the school board settlement. This was a situation where we all got in a room together and we all worked out a deal, the CAO, council members, mayor's team, so that we could move forward with the settlement. And then at the last minute, the mayor decided, no, we don't want to do this deal. Once again, people got back in the room trying to make this happen. Ultimately, when we couldn't get any type of resolution, the City Council decided to move forward and actually take the mayor to court, really on behalf of the children of New Orleans. So my question is, do you support the council's continued fight for the children and taking the mayor to court, or would you have allowed the mayor to win and the children to lose?
I've said before, I support the children.
So you then support the council taking the mayor to court, which is something that you've always said that we should just get into a room and work it out. So you support the fact that we actually had to take the mayor to court to deal with this issue.
I support the children getting their funding.
Thank you for supporting the council.
And if there was a deal that was entered into, if there was an agreement, then that agreement should be honored.
Thank you for supporting the council.
You had 1 minute to answer that question. So is
Yeah,
there anything else you'd like to add?
Let me say this. When it says that I've been critical of the council, I have not just been critical of just the council. I've been critical of the crisis in leadership that we've had coming out of City Hall. Yes, the mayor and the council have not been able to get in the room. So I'm glad they were able to. I mean, she's citing one issue, but this issue ended up in court. How many issues have ended up in court? We had a sanitation contract to go all the way up to the Louisiana Supreme Court. So, I mean, you actually made my point that you all have only been able to work issues out by going to court.
After we got into a room with everyone, because I don't want to lose on behalf of the people. The people of New Orleans got me elected into office so that I would fight for them and protect our city.
All right, yes, you can all.
Well. A little bit more spice added to the program last evening as Helena Moreno, the front runner, asked one of her two primary challenges, State Senator Royce Duplessis, about the schools deal, where the city council is on one side saying give the school district the money, and Mayor Cantrell saying we want to support them, but we can't do it this way, so therefore we're not going to give them the deal that you all negotiated. And Helena Moreno's point was that some of everybody, including representatives from the mayor's office, negotiated that deal, and it should have been fulfilled. State Senator Duplessis has criticized council in that situation. Helena Moreno asking the senator about where he would actually stand. He says he supports the kids. So I don't know if she got the answer that she wanted, but Royce Duplessis gave his answer to her question. What do you think about that one, Chief?
Well, that's a situation where there was different interpretations of different things that transpired. The original agreement, from what I gleaned from that exchange, was that the mayor's representation cut a deal with the council, and then that deal was not upheld by the mayor. So therefore, they went back into the room, did not get any type of consensus. So then the council was forced to take the mayor to court in order to get the funds that was already dedicated. So it's one of another examples that the council and the mayor, and whoever's going to be the new mayor, has to have a working relationship with the council. And basically the betterment of the community is paramount, because when these type of things just lie in limbo, it stagnates the system, and the people that's really hurt are the children and the citizens of the city. So these are the type of issues that has to be brought to the forefront, and it's good that it's done during this debate. And Senator Plessy said that he would have basically adhered to the process that would have basically put the funding in place to help the kids. So I think he got his point across, but I think that Councilman Moreno basically broke it down the way it happened, and I think there's documentation to show that this is something that actually transpired. So,
yeah, at the earlier program at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, and by the way, just to be clear, neither of these were open to the public. These were essentially in event space or in studio events, limited to 1 hour each, with two moderators, anchors Katie Moore and my good friend in New Orleans Association of Black Journalists President Sharice Gibson with WWL Louisiana, and my colleague and the Times-Picayune NOLA.com editorial director, my colleague Stephanie Grace, moderating the morning program. Again, you can find those online. There were some other interesting questions in each of these, and just a reminder that there have been several debates and forums, and a number of those have been recorded, so you can go back and take a listen. Right now, we've got a caller. We've got Janet on the line. Good morning, Janet. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Mr. Southern and Mr. Chief Compass. I'm just calling to do a follow-up because when I called in yesterday, Chief Cleopatra, she didn't understand what I was talking about, but you was trying to explain it to her. And what I want to say is we say get involved, stay engaged. And I want to say that we have the Fatherhood Roundtable, the Silverback Society, the Peacekeepers, and many other organizations. All of the coaches that we have on the park will be right around in the evening and on weekends. And all of the crime prevention, I consider the grassroots guard versus the National Guard. We can use that money to double, triple these organizations. Chief Compass, you talked about a program at Booker T. Washington, and we should advocate to bring that program back and then also add it to other schools. All right, so I want to ask about the budget because I know you know, Chief Compass, if we budget, I'm just using an example, if we budget for 500 officers and we get only 300, can that money be used for crime prevention and go to the organizations that I named earlier?
No, that type of money is not discretionary. When you're getting money that's actually put in place for actually funding of positions, that money has to be allocated for that. And when you look at it from the perspective, the police department has not got to full capacity yet. So they're in constant state of recruiting. And what people don't realize, attrition is something that's happening all the time. Police officers find other jobs. Some of them just retire because they've done their time. Some of them get sick. So they have to be replenished. So it's a constant cycle where you have to put people in as people leave out. And you want to hopefully put more people in than leaving. Unfortunately, with the attrition rate being at an all-time high, well, not now, but in the past, it was very, very high. We lost people. One of the things that we've done that's kind of backfired on us as a police department, because of that federal consent decree, we've reached standards that's above the average law enforcement agency. So the training that a New Orleans police officer gets is better than anybody in the United States of America. So once an officer has matriculated through the NOPD training system and been on the force and basically got the experience, they're being poached by other law enforcement agencies that's offering them more money. And so they're taking that training, which costs the city tens of thousands of dollars, and that's a resource that we're losing. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it because basically, you have the right to work where you want to work at. And a lot of officers are using that training to catapult themselves in other police departments. We had a lieutenant that was extremely skilled, and she went to another police department and became the deputy chief. That's how great a job that we're doing at training our people. And one of the things that Chief Kirkpatrick alluded to yesterday, that the next chief should come from within because the training has elevated to a level where it's possible that there's not a better candidate outside the department. And that's what happened to me. Chief Pennington sent me to so much training that I was the most attractive candidate, not just for New Orleans, but for other departments. Baltimore offered me the chief's job. Jackson, Mississippi offered me the chief's job. And that's one of the reasons that I had options. But basically, I stayed here because I love my city. And when the selection process took place in New Orleans, you know, I basically told Mayor Nagin, he wanted me to stay as chief of operations. I said, if I'm not the chief, I'm going to leave and go to another department because I've got offered 2 other jobs. So he thought about it. Then, you know, a lot of people in the community called and said that I was the most qualified person for the job. And basically because I was the chief of operations right after 9/11 when we had the Super Bowl. And I got national recognition and national commendations. So, you know, when I was chosen for the position of chief, it was a situation where I was qualified not just for this job, but for any job in the nation. And that's the situation we're in now. Chief Kirkpatrick is training people to the level where they're qualified not just for New Orleans, but for any job in the United States. And, you know, which is a good thing to have.
Well, thank you for your answer. And we are going to continue to stand for grassroots organization versus the National Guard and community outreach. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you so much, Janet. And you raised such an excellent point. There's a lot of focus on the mayoral campaign, the city council at large campaigns, the city council district campaigns, a little bit of attention on the assessor campaign, a bit of attention on the clerk campaign, and then quite a bit of attention on the sheriff's race as well. But a lot of the good work happens when there is no political campaign. It happens when folks like you and in the organizations that you've mentioned are doing the work, mostly in terms of prevention.
Right.
And involvement and engagement. Because of that activity, that grassroots activity, some things are not happening that would be wrong, that would be criminal. And part of that, yes, means raising our voices and letting our voices be heard with the idea of good and not evil. We've got another call in. Aaron, you're on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Fabulous. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. First, shouts out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the Houston Gun Club.
Yes, sir.
Let me say this here. It is a concerted effort to make sure that the city of New Orleans does not win. I'm going to give you some examples. Just like the sister just called about these grassroots organizations, which I am a part of, the Fatherhood Roundtable, as well as the Houston Gun Club. We can't even get inside of the schools to make sure that we can teach preventative violence or preventative maintenance courses. There is a reason why violence, as they so-called say, is being perpetuated on our children, whether it be voluntary as well as involuntary. We have to be honest with the people. They are people, or should we say so-called powers that profit off the backs of our ignorance, which includes violence as well. The next thing I want to say, when it comes to the police department and the city of New Orleans have to pay to train these people and they go other places. There is a government grant out right now that has been out as it relates to becoming truck drivers. If you want to be a truck driver to get a CDL, the state will pay for you to get this grant. But if you don't get a job, you are responsible to take and pay the money back. So don't sit there and tell me there is nothing that they can do or nothing can be done when people come to the city of New Orleans and get trained by NOPD and then go somewhere else. Look, if they do that, right, they need to be measures in place to where they have to pay that money back. There is no way all this money is going out the door and nothing can be done. Again, certain people benefits off the ignorance of our people. And it's been that way, and it's going to continue to be that way. What the issue is that there are, again, people that's profiting off of our ignorance, and they take and make sure that we stay ignorant so that way they can continue to do the messed up things what they do. My last thing, and then I'm going to leave. People are asking and wondering why outside parishes and outside elected officials are supporting Helena Moreno for mayor. Let me drop the bomb and say what's really going on. And I know a lot of people ain't gonna like it, but look, you can't refute the truth. It is what it is. The reason why outside politicians and outside parish people are supporting Helena Moreno for New Orleans parish mayor because they know once that big ugly bill passed, a lot of these small little cities is going to go bankrupt. So who's the golden goose for Louisiana? So if their candidate gets in there, of course their candidate can take and move this out the way and move that out the way so these small little local parishes can take and come up off the city of New Orleans, just like a lot of other big cities inside of Louisiana comes up off of New Orleans. So we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to educate ourselves politically as well as survivally, because listen, it's a concerted effort to take over the city of New Orleans because the city of New Orleans is the golden goose for the entire state. And some people are not even afraid, well, some people are afraid to stand up and speak truth to facts because they are comfortable with the classism that they constantly sit in. That's why, look, when Cantrell, and I love the sister, but you got to be honest with that. When she was running, she called herself running as a grassroots campaign. We're going to be the city of yes. But now we have turned to the city of hell no. Because when you turn around, look at our communities. We just had the Super Bowl down here. And when some of us go outside our communities, look at our communities. Look at our schools. And we wonder why we're in the predicament that we're in right now. Man, come on, man. Y'all have a nice day.
All right, thank you, man. Well, first of all, one of the double-edged swords that you have from a recruiting standpoint, I think the city tried to make people pay back if they left after a certain period of time, and that had a detriment, and it deterred people from applying for NOPD because a lot of police departments don't do that. And the thing that basically helps you to retrain the police officers that's under your jurisdiction is salaries and benefits. And I think that's the way for the long-term solution to transpire. When you take it from the perspective of trying to hold somebody on a department basically with monetary penalties if they leave, that's not going to be a good recruitment tool, unfortunately. And we live in a society, not just in New Orleans, but throughout the country, where there's a shortage of qualified police officers throughout the United States. So when you're recruiting, you're not just recruiting from the local area, you're recruiting from a national level and a national base. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're right. They should have to pay that back. But unfortunately, the demand is for police officers are much higher than the supply. So basically, the police officers and police recruits are negotiating from a position of power. So if you're going to make them reimburse if you leave after a certain period of time, if a better offer comes along, that's going to deter individuals trying to come back. So, it's a double-edged sword, unfortunately, and, we can only do the best that we can.
Well, thank you very much for that. There are a number of different ways to take a path to make things better. We always want to keep in mind the grassroots work that gets done in our communities, and that's one of the main reasons that WBOK exists. It's not for political campaigns, and that's very, very important, but the day-to-day work gets done by some nonprofits that are well-organized, 501c3 or C4, and some that are single-person nonprofits, and some that aren't nonprofits at all. They're just people out there doing the work, no pay, doing the work and helping make significant progress. So there was another point during the morning debate, which featured again the 4 candidates who were invited to participate, and one of the questions was there's so much talk about what's gone wrong, especially with safety and permits.
Right.
And the candidates talking about change, all three of the major candidates and others talking about what's gone wrong. So the question essentially was, well, what has Mayor LaToya Cantrell done right?
Oh, wow.
So in the in that segment of the morning forum, Moreno commended the health department under the mayor for its outreach work with domestic violence victims, and that's as reported by my colleague James Finn at NOLA.com, who went to attended both of these programs, as did I, and he's going to a number of others. So you should watch his name because he's out and about, staying on top of these races. And State Senator Duplessis praised Cantrell's 2019 push at the state legislature to secure more revenue from the hospitality industry and her handling of COVID-19 pandemic and the historic drop in crime. So those are the things that he pointed to. Oliver Thomas, OT, gave Cantrell props for uplifting New Orleans culture bearers. And Frank Janusa, who's a CPA running as a Republican, lauded the mayor's handling of the Super Bowl and all that the city did to get ready to host the Super Bowl and doing a great job getting us through a very successful Super Bowl week. And there was a lot to do with that. Certainly there were a number of other folks who played roles with that, but Mayor Cantrell deserves some support, and that was nice to see that Republican Frank Janusa gave credit to Mayor LaToya Cantrell during that morning program. We may have a shot at having another segment at some point before we get out of here and get you ready for Kimba and Graylin on the front porch. But we're going to be joined by Peyton Jason and Deron Jones to talk about the night out against crime. But right now we're going to take a break because we're running a little bit over. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Real issues, real talk, real solutions. Miss an episode of The Reality Check? You can catch every episode anytime. Search WBOK Media on your favorite podcast app to tap the bold commentary, real-time reactions, and powerful perspectives from the people and leaders shaping our city. Download, share, and rate it 5 stars because the real ones always stay informed.
It's off the top with Norman Robinson on WBOK.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton, and I am here with Chief Eddie Compass. We've been having a good and interesting and somewhat spicy time this morning with that stuff from the debates, huh?
Well, we definitely hearing them. That's why we're here. We're here to hear you, and we heard you today.
Yeah, and if you got something to say or you've got a question, the number on the talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. And I sure hope that we can hear you during this segment or right after, because this is a very important segment. We've got the Night Out Against Crime coming up in October, and with us today is Peyton Jason from the New Orleans Health Department. He's the Gun Violence Safety Coordinator. And we also have Deron Jones from UMC, and he is a violence interrupter. And thank you for coming in this morning and sharing with us about this. In the context of the campaigns, we're talking about one of the issues that people always care about. Even with the historic drop in crime, people still feel like they want improvements with crime. And so that definitely plays into this conversation. But before we get into that, who your mama and them? Where are you from?
Well, I'm Peyton Jason. I'm actually from the West Bank.
as they call it, the best day. I went to Jesuit High School.
Oh, half a ding. We went to St. All. Half a ding for that.
Purple Knights here.
Purple Knights here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. And I played football for Tulane.
Oh,
nice. All right, you get 2 for that. All right.
Okay. All right. And so you grew up in West Bank your whole life, or?
Yeah, I grew up. My family's originally from Algiers, and they grew up around that Fisher area, but I grew up in Wagaman. So I've been doing everything on both sides of the river for a long time. So I got a love in my heart for the city of New Orleans. I live over here now, and it's just always been a part of me. So I just like to give back. So.
And Deron?
Yeah, my name is Devon Jones. I'm originally out the 7th Ward, the St.
7th
Bernard Project.
Ward. All right,
exactly.
all right. Lower 9 and 7th.
Lower 9, I feel you. Yeah, I'm a violent interrupter at the hospital, just doing the work for the community, trying to be a helping hand, to kind of mitigate the violence in the community and trying to give people a better outlook at that. Went to John Mack High School, didn't finish, but that's still a plus within itself.
I like John Mack.
Yeah, the Trojans,
Big
right?
John Mack. Coach Skinner. That's Coach Skinner.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, you're both here to talk about the crime and violence and the prevention of that. So we're going to hit this a couple of times, but the big event is the Night Out Against Crime on October 21st. Talk about that, and then let's talk about why we do that and what the goals are with that, and talk about crime and crime prevention.
Yeah. Well, what we do day to day is really focused on prevention, stepping in early, working directly with outreach workers, families, and neighbors to calm conflicts and stop retaliation before it happens. And Night Out is our chance to celebrate those partnerships and show how the community and organizations are making neighborhoods safer together. It's a community effort. So Night Out Against Crime is so important because in order to keep our community safe, we need community members to participate, right? So we want them to see the efforts we're putting in because a lot of people don't know the work that's being done in our office, the Office of Violence Prevention. It just gives us opportunity to connect people with the resources they need and assure them that there's help if they need it, right? And we're in the community on a consistent basis.
Okay. And Devon, what's your role with October 21st?
Our role, we are actually hospital-based, so basically we team up with the community team, and we have the same objective. But inside the hospital, we deal with gunshot wound victims that come into the hospital, and our main priority is to meet them at bedside in a very vulnerable and a very traumatic moment and give them the emotional support they need and build an organic connection with them. And out of that, once we build that relationship with them, right, we connect them to the community services that's available to them. So therefore, they can kind of like change the trajectory. But while they're in the hospital, we actually building like a life planning for them. So therefore, once they discharge, they know what next look like for them, and then they can have an idea that life doesn't end; that they still have a second chance to kind of do it right.
So, Chief, you've been a part of not just Night Out, but crime prevention and seeing it on the other side where, unfortunately, things happen.
Yeah, we were I would guess, the vanguard of crime prevention national Night Out from New Orleans. McGruff, the crime dog.
Yeah.
It was named in New Orleans. John Isabel. We had the foremost we were the prototype for National Night Out. I was blessed in 1997 when I was commander of the 1st District. Mayor Mark Morial presented us with the award. We won the national participation for National Night on Crime because we had the largest reduction in crime in the entire city and one of the best in the nation. So we're very familiar with that. And when you look at what you're doing, Devon, it's incredible because when we went to the University of Alabama, Amir Barak and I, that's what we met with. We met with the doctors, we met with the staff because there's a program very similar to what you're doing. And people don't understand the importance of what you're doing as it relates to these victims so they don't actually repeat that type of behavior where it changes their mindset. And that's what the proactive approaches of crime prevention, that you get real results. A lot of these programs are transitory, and after the hoopah is over, it's over, people forget about it, it's ephemeral. But what you guys are doing is basically long-lasting. It doesn't just poof after the day is over. It's a year-round event. And so I'll commend both of y'all for what y'all do.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
I didn't know that about McGruff.
That's right. See that? I got a lot of history, man.
Yeah.
Got a lot of history here, man. John Isabel, rest in peace. Rest in peace. He created the name McGruff, and he became the national model.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Well, that's good to know. A little something else you can add for October 21st. So what is October 21st likely to look like? I mean, this is something that is annual, and we always want more people to participate. I've participated in some in different neighborhoods and in different locations because I've lived in New Jersey, I've lived in Pennsylvania, I've lived in Massachusetts, I've lived in Indiana, I've lived in North Carolina, I've lived in northern Louisiana, back home in New Orleans. And so I've seen night out in different ways. I mean, I lived in Grambling, Louisiana. I don't mean visited. I lived in Grambling, Louisiana. So I've seen night out in the big city of Philadelphia and a place like Grambling, Louisiana. So what does it look like? What has it looked like here in New Orleans?
Well, it's going to be food, family, and fun. That's the first thing, right? Music, we're going to do it how we do it in New Orleans, right?
All right.
We're going to let the community come out, enjoy themselves, right? But it also gives the opportunity to meet some of the first responders that serve that community. And just that those conversations that may take place gives people an example to see people, hey, as we're all the same, we're just people, you know? So it just gives the people opportunity to meet the people that actually serve their community. And it also is an opportunity for us to just have a good time and enjoy all the festivities for that day. So I think it's something that will be great. It's been great in the past. It's always been something that the health department participated in, and we're going to continue to do so because it's just so impactful to our community as a whole.
So is there a certain start time for October 21st, or is that going to vary from neighborhood to neighborhood? And are you doing anything at the hospital?
At the hospital, we're just doing like the day-to-day work, you know. We hope that, you know, we don't get any GSWs that day that, you know.
Spell it out for our listeners.
Oh, it's gunshot wound, right? Acronym gunshot wound.
Right.
And,
I know you know.
Well, you're right.
I want to make sure. We got to remember that we have a very diverse
absolutely.
audience.
Yeah. So GSW means gunshot wound. So hopefully we don't have anyone come in that's a standard gunshot wound due to what that day symbolized, that there are people that's coming out that's in the community that simplify unity, that simplify peace, that simplify this push and stop the violence, you know, because we know that violence is a very serious health crisis in our community and it stabilizes the community. So when people are looking at that, it kind of brings us back to like, hey, you know, we are one community and we should always stay unified to kind of like keep the peace within the community, and we call on each other when we see something that's about to kick off.
So, Peyton, what are some of the things that, with the historic drop, you all are particularly happy with, and what are some of the things that you see that we need to continue to work on, particularly in the areas of prevention?
Well, here are some quick statistics for you, right? We've seen a 20% overall decrease in crime. That includes aggravated battery, aggravated assault, aggravated rape, simple rape, armed robbery, and simple robbery. Murders have decreased by 34% year to date. If you wanted to exclude that terrible tragedy that happened on January 1st, because that was something separate almost.
That's an anomaly. That really doesn't. That's something that's
then we would reach the number of 61% drop year to date, right? Carjackings are also down 35% compared to last year. And that is directly because of the work that we do within the community, because policies don't replace people. And just like he talked about that violence interruption, how important that is, those are things that we focus on. And as far as the things we need to continue to work on is we just can't look at these numbers and say, hey, we did it. You know, I play sports, right? I got the 24-hour rule, right? You go and win that game, you celebrate as much as you want, but in 24 hours, you got to get back to work because it could flip like that. So we want to stay focused. We want to stay vigilant. We want to make sure that we keep our community safe, and that includes us not resting on our laurels.
Well, good. So if somebody out there has never participated in National Night Out, in Night Out Against Crime, what can they do? They want to participate, but they're not sure what to do.
Yeah. Well, right now we got the date. The event is to be determined, but you can feel free to reach out to me. on my email address. That would be Payton, Payten .Jason @NOLA.gov. I know I have two first names. People flip it all the time, but it's Payton Jason, not Jason Payton. So Payton, Payten .Jason @NOLA.gov. And you can reach out to me, and I will provide you with any information that you need to make sure that you're able to come to this event. And we're also going to have the Ubuntu Peace Ambassadors canvassing different neighborhoods, getting the word out as well. So we're going to come to you as well to give you the information to know where you need to be and when you need to be.
Wonderful. And are you interested in sponsors? People that might want to help with providing goods, supplies, things like that might be good?
Or that might be above my pay grade. I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak too soon.
All right, debating Payton. All right. Debating Payton. All right, no problem. You went to Jesuit. You went to Jesuit.
Okay, all right. Thank good Jesuit.
Good Jesuit, yeah.
Not my lane, but I'm sure someone can answer.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's all right. But they can send a question to you.
They can send a question to me, and I'll get the answer right to them.
To the appropriate folks.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, this is. I'm glad that you all came today to talk about the Night Out Against Crime. This is so important, Chief. I mean, former New Orleans Police Chief Eddie Campos, has seen this not just as chief,
right,
but in a number of other roles, and as a law enforcement officer, and so much of the police job is to protect and serve. It doesn't say to make sure that we respond to crime.
Right.
It's not really a responsive thing, although that is a part of what happens.
Small part.
But it is the prevention, which is done through grassroots organizations, individuals and families, churches, and through the New Orleans Health Department, where you work, and through UMC, where you help. But these are places where you can get involved, and if you've got something on your mind, you have a question, Mr. Payton said, contact him. And what's that email address again?
It is Payton, Payten .Jason, JASON @NOLA.gov.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, gentlemen. We appreciate you coming to the Good Morning Show to share this good information. And maybe as we get a little closer to October 21st, when we know a little bit more about some of the things planned for that day, you can come back and update us about what's going to happen so that we can get some more people out and engaged and involved on October 21st.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, Good Morning Show is continuing after the break. I'm Will Sutton, and this is WBOK 1230 AM. I am with Chief Eddie Campos. It's Hump Day, Wednesday. Hump Day. We got to the middle of the week. Still got a couple more days to go, but let's get through this one, see what good that we can do. You are listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Hear that? For too long, fixing our streets and drainage has only meant inconvenience and empty promises. This is Matthew Willard. I'm running for Council at Large, Division 1, to really fix our city so we spend less time dodging potholes and street flooding and more time cheering on the Saints. As a state legislator, I've proven I can deliver. At City Hall, I'll build on that record. Paid for by the Matthew Willard Campaign.
I went on down to New Orleans and they all asked for Frank. On every street, all the people you meet, they all ask for Frank. They all know to vote for Frank, cause he has a plan. Make New Orleans shine, safe from crime, the best in all the land. Vote for Frank.
Paid for by the committee to elect Frank Scurlock for mayor.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You got something on your mind, something on your heart, you have a question, you want to share something with our WBOK family, that's the number to call, 504-582-9422. So we just heard from Peyton Jason from the New Orleans Health Department and Devon Jones from UNC talking about Night Out Against Crime. So that is happening on October 21st. And so we'll want to mark that on our respective calendars. We're going to be learning more about that event on October 21st. They will keep us in touch and update us between now and then. But you know, we know that we've had a historic drop in crime, and that's great. But we don't want to stop the efforts, and all of us have to be a part of it. This is not just on the New Orleans Police Department. It's on us and what we can do individually in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our blocks, and we play a role with the crime prevention and the crime drop. Earlier, we were hearing from the WWL Louisiana debate. There was a forum yesterday morning hosted by the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, in the Central Business District on St. Charles Avenue. It was not public, but it did air live, and you can find it on YouTube. There were 4 candidates in that particular event, and that was State Senator Royce Duplessis, CPA Frank Janusa, City Council Vice President Helena Moreno, and City Council District E Representative Oliver Thomas. So those 4 participated in the morning. Again, 3 of them participated at night. But there was one particular question that I think that would be of interest to our WBOK listening audience, and that is about equity. So I want you to hear that clip. In case you missed it, if you don't have time, maybe you can listen to this and get a sense of how the candidates see this equity issue.
Although we got just 10% of the vote here, Governor Jeff Landry has taken a particular interest in New Orleans matters. Has his involvement been welcome, or are there areas where you think he's overstepped?
Well, anytime a president, a governor, federal or state officials are interested in your community, you would want it to be a positive, and you want a working relationship. But what the city of New Orleans needs from our governor and our state partners, we don't need predators, we need partners. We don't need people who are looking to take over the city. We need people who are looking to help prioritize the city. I would love to see the governor take a look at those House bills I talked about, 570 and 498, and the $16 to $20 million impact that they're going to have on our budget. I would love to see the governor reach out to the mayor and say, how can we help you, not how can we look at the systems that we think aren't working. And why is that important? The city has the state has 14 water systems that don't work or receiving failing grades. Our state is last in infrastructure. Our state is 50th in the economic viability and well-being of our children. Our state is still in the bottom 46 to 50 when you talk about educating our kids reading, being at the national level, being proficient. So I don't think a conversation about taking over aspects of the city is what we need from our governor. I think a conversation about how you help the city and ultimately help the state. I would love to see a governor that works with us, especially in a state that has European civil law and British common law, which says that everything we do when you talk about budget and land use has to be consistent with state law when you talk about budgeting and property rights. Okay, let's do a retreat, Governor. Let's sit down and look at those areas where you can help us, not hurt us.
Thank you so much. Senator Duplessis, you're up in Baton Rouge.
I'm up in Baton Rouge, but New Orleans is a home rule charter city. New Orleans is a city of self-determination. This relationship of the city of New Orleans and Baton Rouge is nothing new. There's always been an attempt to extract from the city of New Orleans. There's always been a desire to control the city of New Orleans because we are the gem. We drive the bus. They understand that. Governor Landry truly understands that, which is why when he was elected, even though he got the fewest number of votes in my Senate district, he did something unprecedented by creating a transition committee focused solely on the city of New Orleans. That caused a lot of concern. It even caused me concern. It's one of the reasons why I was the only elected official, certainly the only Democrat, who was willing and bold enough to serve on that committee because I care about the city of New Orleans. And I respect the office of the governor, whoever is in office. But it's important that the governor focuses on working with us and not on us. We decide what works best for us, and we welcome support. We welcome a collaborative relationship. So whether it's dealing with the homeless population, whether it's dealing with public safety, we welcome that support. And if President Trump wants to send federal troops in, as Governor Landry has said he supports, I'm saying, okay, some of these things can't be true. You can't say your crime plan worked and you're welcoming federal troops. We want the resources that the federal government would give to the city of New Orleans so we can best police our own communities. That's the kind of relationship that we need to have.
Mr. Janusa.
Let me just put it bluntly and put it simply. I think Governor Jeff Landry has the best interests of the state of Louisiana in mind, and ultimately he has the best interests of the city of New Orleans in mind. Because as Senator Duplessis indicated, New Orleans is the gem of the state of Louisiana. It is the vanguard of its economy. If New Orleans dies, the state of Louisiana dies. Now, interestingly, should I be elected the first Republican mayor of the city of New Orleans since 1872, I think that my relationship with Governor Landry, a Republican, will be a much more interesting relationship than a Democratic a Democratic mayor would have. I think the very fact that we share some of the same ideals, some of the same items in the party platform, some of the same values, I think that will go a long way to generating additional revenue funds for the city, which obviously the city needs terribly. I think that personal relationship goes a long way. Matter of fact, I'm expecting the endorsement of Governor Jeff Landry.
Okay, Councilmember Moreno.
Thank you. Obviously, a partnership with the state is incredibly important. Everything from working with the Louisiana Department of Transportation to DEQ, DCFS, you name it, all very critical. But at the same time, obviously, completely against any type of state takeover of the city of New Orleans. But how did we get to that point? How did we get to that point where there was so much conversation around some kind of like takeover or stronghold over the city of New Orleans? The reason why that happened is because they saw that ultimately when it came to basic city services, the operations of the executive here, that those things were not being taken care of. And so therefore that left a crack in the door open for the state to come in and say, well, let me go ahead and handle it for you. Now the difference will be when I'm the executive, when I'm the mayor, I will be taking care of our city and taking care of our city services. So that'll close the door to that level of state intrusion or state type of takeover, which is critically important. Now, at the same time, while Governor Landry and I may be this far apart when we talk about politically speaking, there are things that I have been able to work with his administration on, including a historic land swap deal where we have now acquired all of Duncan Plaza and in exchange for the state property there to the streets around the Superdome, which will create tremendous economic opportunities for the city of New Orleans. Once again, people said, would you be able to get in a room and figure out this deal? Okay. And I was able to do it.
All right. Well, there you had it. The issue wasn't equity on this particular one, as I said. My bad. But this was about the idea of National Guard troops and Jeff Landry's relationship with the city of New Orleans. We're going to have to get up and get out of here. When I leave here, I'm going to be heading over to the Lions Center at 624 Louisiana Avenue. That's the Senior Voter Caucus. So the seniors of our community are gathering, and that will be hundreds of them gathering to for a forum that will feature more than 20 of the candidates from the various offices. So if you're a senior, we expect to see you there. If you're not a senior, then help a senior, and maybe they'll let you have a seat. And you can hear from a lot of candidates in a short period of time. That's the Senior Voters Caucus, the Lions Center, 624 Louisiana Avenue, starting minutes from now. And tomorrow night is the Together New Orleans Forum, a citywide assembly with candidates for mayor and city council. That's tomorrow, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Xavier University Convocation Center. That one may be packed, folks, like the mayoral debate that the Urban League sponsored with By the People, also at Xavier University Convocation Center. So you want to make your plans. You want to RSVP, and you can do that by going to togethernola.org/SEPT18. togethernola.org/SEPT18. We're going to have to get up and get out of here, make way for Kimba and Graylin for the front porch. This is WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about
all day long.